Hey, this is John for JMC Garage. In the JMC Garage, for this week's episode, we're going to be enhancing the lighting on my 2012 Ford Escape. If you tuned in a couple weeks ago for a subscriber of mine, heck, this is a good time to say please subscribe, like, comment, do all those things. I love for you guys to be involved with everything I'm doing. So a couple weeks ago, I drove this Escape from the East Coast all the way out here to North Idaho. And Hawkglow, I partnered with them. They hooked me up with some LED inserts for the headlights, some bulb replacements. Now, of course, it's in the stock housing. The stock housing can only do so much. And because of the age, lighting wasn't very good in 2012. So what I wanted to do, I partnered with Hawkglow again, and we're going to put some off-road pod lights on the front of this thing. So let me show you what they sent. Now, I'm supposed to do an unboxing, but unfortunately, I had to make sure everything would work, so I already opened it, already prepped this video, but this is the unboxing of it. This is what Hawkglow sent. These are the off-road pod lights. They come with these nifty yellow covers, or these orange covers, rather. So if you wanted to run orange lights, you can, and these are the pod lights themselves. Pretty cool looking. They have a high and a low beam, which is pretty cool. We're going to be installing these guys, and then also this is the wiring for it. Pretty simple. Already kind of looked into the wiring to see what is needed, but the wiring is pretty simple. You have the interior switch there to turn the lights on and off. You also have the connections for the pod lights. It comes with automotive relays, which is pretty cool. And then, of course, you have the connector that will go on your battery for positive and negative. This pulls under 10 amps. I was originally going to run the fog light circuit into this itself, but I decided not to do that because eventually I want to get some different fog lights and so utilize the fog lights with the pod lights. So I decided against that. We're going to be hooking that up, and then this is all the bracketry and everything else. Let me show you what we're going to be doing for that, and then we'll kind of come back and show you how it's all going to go together. But so what I've already done is I've already prepped the Escape. I've removed the grill. Now what's awesome about this Escape is that you can actually remove the grill without removing the front bumper. So I've already done that. I'm going to be installing each pod light right here and right here. So I already got the hose pre-drilled, and we're going to be installing the pod lights right here. So they're going to be hanging right here and one right here. I made some notches in this bumper so I can run the wiring so that when I put the grill back on, you won't be able to see the wiring whatsoever, or very little of it. So that's what I wanted to do there. These are the brackets for the pod lights. Got that right there, and there's going to be one on the other side. So we're going to mount those. We're going to mount the pod lights. We're going to do the wiring, which is pretty simple. Also, what I wanted to show you before we get to the next clip is, I have my nifty flashlight here. For the interior switch, turn on my flashlight. Right there is what you call the clutch cable plug. Now, being that this car is an automatic, it didn't come with a 5-speed or a 6-speed manual. But this car had the option to have a 5-speed or a 6-speed manual. So that right there is where the clutch bracketry and the cable and everything would go. So I'm going to use that plug right there, which I've already popped out. Just like that. That goes right into my interior. I'm going to slit a hole in this, and I'm going to run my wiring through this right here. That's going to go inside the interior, and I'll be able to mount my switch to turn on and off the pod light. So pretty cool that this is a nice big plug. I could do a nice big slit, run the wiring through, and then put some silicone behind it so it's nice and sealed. Awesome. So come back, and we're going to show you some of the progress we're going to be doing. JMC Garage, John back again. So we got everything mounted. I got the lights mounted right here. As you can see, my grill is off right now, but I'll eventually will put the grill back on. I need to have the grill off in order to mount these lights to the bumper itself. So I wanted to make sure I did that, and then I ran the wiring up and through the openings. I got some wiring tucked up underneath here, some wiring tucked up here, and the bulk of it is right here. I got to go ahead and secure all that, but I'm going to work on that. I have the wiring going through the dash, and I'll show you where the switch is mounted in the dash. It was a horrible deal, but anyway, switch is mounted right here in the dash. Got that taken care of. Now, I had to hook this up. I wanted to hook this up through the fog lights, and I eventually did that. And the reason why I did that was I didn't feel comfortable running it straight off the battery. The electrical system is kind of weak in this vehicle, and I didn't want to feel comfortable running straight off the battery. You may be like, well, John, what about the fog light circuit? Well, the fog light circuit in the stock fuse box runs a 15 amp. The pod light kit from Hawkglow runs a 10 amp fuse. So obviously this pulls less power than the original 2 fog lights would pull. So the question is, will it run off the fog light circuit? Again, it's 15 amps, 12 volts going to it. Will it run off the fog light circuit? Well, let's find out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the parking lights on. Parking lights. And then I'm going to pull it out. As you can see, my fog light has got power activated to it because of the green light. And now we're going to hit... why don't you go up there, son? I don't know if that's the high or low, but I think it's the high beam.
No, it's both.
And then we got this guy. Did that turn on too?
I didn't even know what it turned on. There it goes.
So yeah, the pod lights work. And what's awesome about the pod lights working, and the engine so first off, when I'm running it through the fog light circuit, the engine has to be running. The headlights have to be turned on. Usually I run automatic headlights on this. So the engine has to be turned on. The fog lights have to be turned on. And then I can run the pod lights. So, and then everything goes through this wiring right here. Again, I'm going to mount that all up, kind of give you a finished product. And then what I'm going to do is later on I'll give you a shot of what it looks like at night. But yeah, there we go. It's installed, it works, I'm happy, and it should be really nice to see that. I'm going to try and give you a shot at night. It won't be in this video, probably be in the next video, or maybe a short. I'll probably do a short on that this coming week, what it looks like at night, but everything's hooked up, everything works. Now I just got to button everything up here. So again, thank you. If you guys want to know how I did it all, again, I had to run through the fog light circuit. I disconnected this fog light wiring, and I tapped into this fog light wiring. I had to go through the inner fender well in order to get to the wiring, strip it back, connect it to the wiring for this to make sure everything was working. So, and we got some heat going on in this engine. Hallelujah. Everything is going good. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Appreciate all you guys that are following me. This was kind of a project for me. I'm not very good with electrical or wiring, but hey, we got it to work. It's a simple job. For me personally, I didn't want to connect it straight to the battery. I had issues, and I don't want to connect it straight to the battery. But connecting it through the fog light circuit is what I ended up doing, and it actually worked. So yeah, and it's not like I'm going to be running these all the time. These are kind of be like additional lights, almost like high beam lights if I wanted to run high beams. Anyway, I'm thankful that it works. Everything's good to go. And you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you on the next one.